Hey everyone, me Moonlight Guidance. I hope you're doing well. If not, I really hope I can help you. This is a safe space where you are always very welcome. I'm going to be doing a tarot card reading for you. And I also offer personal readings, rituals, services, as well as intention items as well. Everything is on shopmoonlightguidance.com, linked down below in the description box. And I'm always here to help you, and everything's linked down there, okay? If you're ever interested in personal services or anything like that, and they're done within 12 to 24 hours, okay? All right, so it was raining like crazy and now it's sunny and I'm like, hello? Dear weather, what is happening? Okay. Got Temperance and the Six of Wands. So I feel like you may have been dealing with or are dealing with currently, whether it's past or present, a person here that you felt very, very connected to or still feel very connected to with Temperance, okay? There's a sense here of feeling a lot of warmth and a lot of connection towards this person, really feeling like this person meant a lot to you and that this person was just really, really special to you and someone that you just really felt very connected to. And along with that, we do also have the Six of Wands. Now, the Six of Wands is quite powerful because it really resembles this sense here of feeling like, you know, this is the person that you want to be with, you want to build with, you want to end up with, you want to, you know, have intimacy with, you want to spend your days talking to, especially with the Knight of Wands, you know, this person that you want to talk to, be around, be with, you know, have a future with, live life with, progress things along with. And you've just felt so connected to this person and so drawn to this person that you can't imagine life any other way. And at the same time, with the Magician here as well, it's quite fascinating because you've tried to do everything you can in your power to keep this connection with you. So that means that, you know, sometimes you would suppress certain things that perhaps you want to say because you don't want to upset the other person. You don't want to turn the connection on its head. You don't want to say something and then they go quiet, or say something out of your own personal truth and then upset them, because I do see here that you're upset about something and you do suppress certain parts of yourself in order to keep the connection or to maintain the connection, because you feel so much for this person that you don't want to ruin things, okay? And I see that here also with Chariot. There's a real sense of excessive empathy. And the reason I say excessive is because sometimes I feel like this person has treated you poorly and you've sort of not really pointed it out, or you've not really wanted to point it out because you don't want to upset the dynamics, or you don't want to upset this person. So you would be very empathic even though they haven't treated you well. So I'm just saying, you know, Chariot here is a very powerful energy of you being very loving, very kind, very nurturing, but not necessarily speaking your truth or speaking up in relation to this person. And the reason for that is because you have dealt with someone here, okay? And this person is someone who, I feel in the past you tried to speak to them about something that bothered you and they sort of may have just given you silent treatment or shut you out or been very cold towards you, very dismissive towards you. And since then you've just felt like, okay, I can't talk to them about anything because then that means that the connection will just end. It just means that the connection is doomed, okay? It just means that we will never be together. But in turn, you're suppressing yourself, which isn't healthy, because there are things that bother you, which then you're not speaking about, and you're letting them get away with it, and then they just think they've gotten away with it, and they can just do whatever, and they can keep treating you in this way, and then it goes round in the cycle, okay? And then they do something again to hurt you, and you're like, no, okay, I can't talk about this because, you know, again, our connection will just end, so therefore I just have to keep my mouth shut, and then, you know, keep going. They do something else to hurt you, and so you constantly feel left in the cold because you're not able to properly communicate to this person. And because of that, what I do see here is that it really, really hurts you, and it really has bothered you a lot, okay? It's really bothered you a lot. And I also feel here as well with the Wheel of Fortune is that what goes around comes back around, because this person knows they're not going to get somebody like you. And the Five of Pentacles here shows change. It's not change like in terms of like, oh my god, this person just changes. The change here is that when this person no longer has access to your energy, they actually realize what they've missed out on. And I think because you've always been very lenient towards this person in the past, and you've always just sort of forgiven them, you know, if they've done something wrong, they've always kind of just assumed that they can just kind of do whatever and get forgiven. So there's a pattern and a cycle that builds in them based on how you've treated them and based on what you've allowed, that then allows that to happen. So they kind of think that they can, okay, just do whatever. But the truth of the matter here is that they have been very, very disrespectful to you, and you have been nothing but kind and forgiving, but to your own expense. And sometimes, I'm just going to say this, the reward for putting up with nonsense is sometimes more nonsense. And so therefore, having strong boundaries and telling a person how you feel, what suits you, what doesn't, is not inherently a bad thing, because you're treating a person how they should treat you. And two things can happen. Either number one, they change because they understand it hurts you and that they don't want to lose you and they actually want to work on things. Or number two, they leave, and actually that makes room in your life for someone much, much better. So actually it just works in your favor to be truthful, to be open, and to say the things that you need to say and then things you need to do. Because essentially the more you keep things inwards and the more you hide it and you just tell yourself, oh, it doesn't matter, I have to keep the peace, you're actually creating more unrest for yourself, right? Because then this person realizes that they can just treat you badly because you always forgive them, and then they'll always do this. You're just teaching this person to keep creating unrest because that's what you're accepting. So Spirit here is really saying that if something is bothering you, it's okay to speak up in a confrontational way, and just in a normal tone to say like, listen, I felt more connected when you prioritized me. So if we can, meet up or spend some time together, that would be really nice. Or, saying something in that particular way where it's not like, why don't you spend time with me, but instead saying it in the other way that I just spoke about can actually allow a person to actually think about things from a different perspective and then to actually integrate it in. So the main thing here, especially with the Four of Wands, is that I do see here that there is an integration that is taking place where essentially you are going to be a little bit more forward in terms of what you really want and what you accept, and you're not going to be as scared. You're not going to operate from fear, because fear is actually manifesting more fear and more hurt into your life, because when you're accepting this kind of behavior, you're just getting more of it. And unfortunately, again, the prize for putting up with nonsense is just more nonsense, So again, you don't want this kind of nonsense. You want someone who really does the right thing, is proactive, is very productive, is really, doing as much as they can, and you're not then stuck in this sort of sense of feeling like, what in the world is going on, You actually feel like things are moving in the right direction and there is much more peace. So I feel like, a few days before you really implement this into your life and you kind of think like, actually, do you know what, I do need to kind of put in those healthy boundaries and not just let a person constantly get away with things, because the next time they do it, you can just say like, okay, this is where I'm at, rather than just letting it slip and slide. Because when you let it slip and slide, the other person will always think you will let it slip and slide, and then they will do more things to let it just slip and slide, okay? And so that's the main thing that I'm seeing here, is that a few days before you implement this, you will say something, and you will kind of think about this reading being, a sort of sense of like, okay, I don't want it to keep going in this cycle, and I do want this person to respect me. Otherwise, it's just not great. So I think that this is very, very powerful here in terms of this situation. Yeah, especially with a Fool, you're just trying to do the best for yourself. You're trying to have those healthy boundaries. Now, this doesn't have to be a lover, okay? It can be with a family member, it can be with a friend, it can be with a co-worker, but you're just not letting the same cycles keep going. You're putting in a really important boundary, and what that does is it teaches people how they should be treating you. And if they don't want to treat you that way, then they can just go and do whatever they want, okay? Because you deserve to be treated well, because you're an empress. You have so much love and generosity to give. You're always looking out for other people. You're always trying to be the best version of yourself. And with the Fool, you do sometimes just want certain people to get themselves together. And the Fool here shows that by implementing these strong boundaries and teaching people how they should be treating you, they will eventually get the point, because when you know what you deserve and you then allow that behavior, basically, right, when you know what you deserve and you tell someone, you know, this is how you should be, this is what I expect, they will meet you at that level, okay? And if they don't, they just don't. But most people, they'll meet you at that level. However, if you think that you deserve this much, you will only get this much and below. If you say, no, this is what I want, you will get that much and sometimes below. But you will get people that meet you at this level. And that's what you really want. And that's where you're at right now, is that you want someone at this level to treat you well. You want people to really respect your boundaries, not just to come here, okay? And then for you to have to then stoop down, be like, yeah, it's fine, whatever, but it hurts you, creates resentment, right? So anyways, I feel like you're very much going to be implementing some very healthy boundaries in the next few days. Let me know how that goes, okay? Let me know in the comment section below. And of course, I do offer personal readings to look at your situation. So if you had any personal questions you would like to ask with a reading, I do offer readings on shopmoonlightguidance.com and linked down below on Etsy as well. There's thousands of 5-star reviews. There's rituals for love, money, marriage, career, beauty, justice, black magic removal, protection. And of course, there is as well the intention items like bracelets, necklaces, anklets, pom-poms, tassels, candles, sage bundles, teas, and so much more, and embroidery cards which you can carry with you and things like that. So everything is always there. I also have TikTok and Instagram. I post short readings on there every day, but I really hope that this reading helps you. You deserve so much better. You deserve to be treated so much better, and you deserve so much more love and happiness and joy and respect for your future. Yeah. Bye.